station with the most local news. This is News 4 at 6:30.
How many more? No more! Never again! National Walk Day!
Right now on News 4 at 6:30, calling for a change. Local students take part in a nationwide movement to end gun violence. Hear their concerns.
And snow has been falling for the last several hours here pretty heavily, especially south of the region. Coming up, I'll let you know when it finally will die down and what's ahead as we move through the end of the work week.
And no more toll booths, at least getting on to Grand Island. The new system being rolled out, how you'll use it, and what to do if you don't have an Easy Pass. But first, we're continuing to follow a developing story out of Buffalo this evening. A spokesman for the University at Buffalo says one person has been taken to ECMC after a chemical reaction at a lab there.
It happened at Foster Hall on UB's South Campus just after 4:30. The lab reopened an hour later. Buffalo police, fire, and hazmat were called to the scene. UB spokesperson says there was a chemical reaction involving magnesium chloride, which is said to be harmless. 10 people were inside the building at the time. Officials say there is no threat to the campus. We will alert you to any updates on this developing story on our social media pages, as well as on our website. It's WIVB.com. Our other top story tonight, we're keeping a close eye on the weather as the snow continues.
It does. A winter storm warning still in effect tonight for parts of western New York, at least the southern parts anyway. Some people woke up to more than a foot of snow overnight, and that created some messy conditions for the morning commute. Now, as it continues to snow tonight and diminishing a little bit, you should still be careful out there on the roads. What can we expect tonight, and what about tomorrow? Former meteorologist Kaylee Went has all those details and more in your forecast first at 6:30. Good evening, Kaylee.
Good evening. Like you said, tonight for the remainder of the night, snow is going to be tapering off, but it is still lingering out there. So it's important to make sure if you have any plans and you're heading out to drive a little bit slower and plan a little bit of extra time. Over Chautauqua Lake, we're talking about still low visibility because of some of the snowflakes we're seeing out there. You can see barely the lake, but some of those trees a little bit closer to the camera. Right now, visibility is down to about 1 mile in Jamestown and Olean, down near Chautauqua Lake. Of course, over a mile up into Wellsville. And if you move further north, things do improve a bit, but still, everybody around western New York is not up to speed. They're not up to where they normally are. So we're watching that, of course. One of the reasons is because snow is still falling around the area. I'll show you a closer look of the south towns, and you'll notice areas like Springville all the way down towards Salamanca, seeing that snow continuing. And then if we move north of the city, Buffalo actually dry right now along with Niagara Falls, but places like Lockport over into Clarence and Alabama are still seeing the snow. For that reason, we've got winter storm warnings that are sticking around through 2 o'clock tomorrow morning for these areas shaded in pink, and then these areas shaded in purple. One of them, McKean County, is under a winter weather advisory through 8 p.m. tonight. Now the other, Allegheny County, under that winter weather advisory through 2 a.m. tomorrow. So overall, what you need to know is to expect a couple more hours of snow before it will finally come to an end. You can see that here on the hour-by-hour model. By tomorrow morning, you get a small break, but around 9 or 10 o'clock, a new batch of snow will move into the region. So coming up in my full 4 and forecast, we'll talk about additional snowfall amounts you can expect tonight, and then we'll talk about what you need to know heading into your Thursday in terms of snow.
America is listening to your voices and the students around the country.
From Florida to Washington, D.C. and New York to Oregon, thousands of students across the country are calling for change to current gun laws. Today marks exactly 1 month since 17 people were shot and killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Since the shooting, Florida lawmakers passed and signed a new state gun law for the first time in 22 years.
But students have said for the past several weeks they want to see changes across the country. Students here in western New York that we spoke to today, they are standing by that message. Hundreds of students in Buffalo, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Niagara Falls, Batavia all left their classrooms at 10 a.m. to walk for 17 minutes to remember each of the 17 people killed in that South Florida shooting. Students held signs reading, "How many more?" and "Protect kids, not guns." Students told us they want to see changes to national gun laws, like banning assault-style weapons and enforcing stricter background checks. Students in Buffalo say they know a tragedy like this can happen anywhere, and they want to prevent it from happening again.
You shouldn't really have to be scared to be about going to school. Like, school should be a safe place for you to go. I don't want people to have to worry about that they're going to be shot in school.
We're the future leaders, we're the future voters, and so our leaders can either open up to compromise and listen to us now, or they're going to have to in 2 to 3 years.
Buffalo police said they did not have any major issues to report during today's protests.
We reached out to New York lawmakers to see where they stand on gun control now and if their stance has changed since the school shooting in Parkland and after the walkouts. You can read their responses on our website, WIVB.com. Developing tonight, a Buffalo man has admitted to setting an apartment building on fire in Allentown last summer. Prosecutors say 29-year-old Brandon Adler set a couch on fire inside his apartment at Franklin Street. The fire quickly spread throughout the building. 5 people were inside but escaped. Fire crews had to rescue 2 others through a second-story window. The building was seriously damaged. Adler faces up to 4 years in prison. He'll be sentenced May 21st.
Buffalo police say an investigation is underway tonight after a girl was jumped by a group of girls who were armed with a knife. Police say this happened yesterday at School 59. But police say the attack happened during dismissal, and 2 teens and an 18-year-old were arrested and charged with assault, criminal possession of a weapon, and menacing. The 18-year-old and one of the other teens, they were also charged with trespassing. Toys R Us is expected to close all of its stores in the U.S. this week after filing bankruptcy. Now, U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer is warning customers that once the liquidation is complete, if you have a gift card to that store or maybe Babies R Us, it could become worthless. Schumer says he's asking the Federal Trade Commission to look into the company to make sure that no laws are being broken. He also wants to make sure that people have enough time to get cash back for their unused gift cards. Now, it's up to the bankruptcy court to decide if Toys R Us can honor those cards. The green light has been given, and on March 29th, cashless tolling will be the only way that you can travel through Grand Island.
The Thruway Authority's acting executive director made the announcement today. News 4's Chris Horvatitz was there.
This would involve the personnel at the Thruway Authority and our consultant Conduit, and our people at the Thruway Authority working with Conduit work with people who have an issue with their particular bill.
Are there preparations being made to take on an increased number of mistakes?
Well, the number of mistakes are actually very small. So in our current experience, over 96% of the users pay.
Beginning March 29th, these tolls at the Grand Island Bridge will begin to disappear. They're being replaced with these cashless tolling gantries. Here's how it will work. 30 days after passing through, you'll receive a bill for the toll. If you don't pay, about 30 days later, you'll receive another bill with an additional $5 fee. About 40 days after that, the fee jumps to $50.
When I played football for the Buffalo Bills, nothing stopped me, except toll booths.
These PSAs featuring Thurman Thomas began airing today to raise awareness that the change is coming. It also pushes people to get Easy Pass. That's the other way to pay for the toll.
It was a big deal, and it is still a big deal, to see the gantries and photographs that everybody's taking pictures of right now and is spreading through Grand Island saying, my Lord, look at this.
Cashless tolling is expected to be implemented across the Thruway by the end of 2020. Amherst Town Supervisor Brian Culpa hopes the Williamsville tolls are some of the first to go.
And one of my questions was, is the end of 2020 really the end of 2020? And they said, yes, it's the end of 2020. The proof was in the pudding, I guess, on Grand Island, where they said, March 2018.
Chris Horvatitz, News 4.
Still to come on News 4 at 6:30, we're checking in with Buffalo Crime Stoppers to see how successful their opiate initiative has been since launching. Kevin Hoffman joins us live on set coming up next.
And it's chilly outside right now. Mostly everywhere around western New York has fallen into the 20s. Coming up, I'll let you know how cold it's expected to get overnight and what you can expect to end out the work week.